Have you ever been told to use the STAR method in interviews but thought, I know what it stands for, I just don't know how to make it sound natural? Well, that ends today. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use STAR to make your TA interview answers clear, confident, and memorable without sounding robotic. You'll learn what STAR actually means and why schools love it, how to turn your everyday school experiences into strong interview answers, which types of questions STAR works for best, and a mindset trick to stop your mind from going blank halfway through. Now, before we begin, I have created a free PDF that accompanies this course. Inside, you'll find direct links to each video so you can easily rewatch or jump to the section you need most. You'll find STAR mindset shifts that will boost your interview confidence, reflection prompts to help you turn the video content into concrete learning, and it will show you how to create your very own STAR answer bank. Just type free PDF please in the comments and I will give you the link. Okay, what STAR really means. So let's quickly decode it. S is for situation. Set the scene. Where were you? What was happening? So your opening sentence of answering a question would be, I was supporting a small group during a maths lesson when one pupil became upset and refused to take part. So that's just setting the scene. The T of STAR is for task. What did you need to do? So you would answer something like, I needed to help the child calm down and rejoin the activity without disrupting others. So you've clearly set the scene by using the STAR method, and you've conveyed that you understand what it was you needed to do in that situation. Now, the A of STAR stands for action. What steps did you take? So you would answer something like, I used a calm tone, reminded him of our class rules, and offered him a short break before rejoining. And then the R of STAR stands for result. What happened because of your actions? So you'd carry on by saying, after a few minutes, he returned to the group and completed the task. The teacher thanked me for keeping the group on track. So that's STAR in action. All right. It's a framework for you to give complete answers into your interview questions. And because it's a word, you can, it helps you remember what it is you need to do. I need to set the scene. So that's the situation. I need to let my interviewers know what the task ahead was. I need to tell them what my actions were, what I actually did, and I need to tell them what the result of all that was. And that's a fully rounded interview answer. That's what your interviewers are looking for. So the kinds of questions STAR works for best. Now, it's actually pretty versatile. STAR is brilliant for any question that starts with, tell me about a time when, or can you give an example of? These are what are known as behavioural questions, designed to reveal how you've handled real situations in the past, because that's the best predictor of knowing how you'll act in the future. But STAR also works well for problem-solving questions where you need to show initiative or judgment, teamwork or communication questions where collaboration was key, safeguarding or behaviour questions where following procedures mattered, resilience or reflection questions where you learned something important from experience. Think of STAR as your story structure. for any questions that asks for proof of what you've done rather than just what you would do. Now, how STAR fits TA interview questions. Let's look at a few. So let's look at how STAR works in practice with different types of questions. So for a problem-solving question, which is something like, can you tell us about a time you had to think on your feet to support a pupil or adapt a task? You would use STAR to show how you identified the issue, what you did, and the positive outcome. Teamwork or communication question. For example, give an example of how you've worked effectively with a class teacher or another member of staff. STAR here will help you show collaboration, what your shared goal was, and how your contribution made a difference. A safeguarding question. Something like, tell us about a time you noticed something that concerned you about a pupil's well-being. And the STAR answer here keeps your answer professional and factual, showing that you followed policy and reported appropriately. Behaviour questions. Something like, describe a situation where you helped manage challenging behaviour in the classroom. STAR gives you a calm, logical structure, what happened, what you did, and what improved as a result. Resilience or reflection questions. Can you give an example of a time something didn't go as planned and what you learned from it? STAR allows you to show self-awareness, ending on what changed because of your reflection. Now, the mindset trick I was talking about, don't memorize, visualize. So instead of rehearsing word for word, picture the moment. Imagine yourself back in that classroom, the sound, the faces, the problem you solved. Then walk through STAR as if you're telling a short story. That's how you sound natural, not scripted. So when you're asked a question, once you're familiar, and what I suggest you do is go through all 6 of these videos, because going through them will help you get very familiar with STAR itself. Because then when you're in an interview situation and they ask you a question, you'll straight away think, right, okay, let's tell them a situation I was in, the task I had to do, what I actually did, and the result of that. So it's just a really great framework to give your interviewers a really good indication of how you work and what your experience is. Very, very fully rounded answers. And not many TAs will be using it, so this will help you stand out. So you're not trying to impress the interviewer, you're helping them understand how you work. So if I sort of clarify that, you're primarily trying to help the interviewer understand how you work, and through doing that you'll impress them. But it's not about impressing them first, if you see what I mean. You're not to think, I've got to impress with this answer. What you've got to do with your answer is give them a really coherent answer of what the situation was, your understanding of the task ahead, the action that you took, and the result. And in doing that, you will impress the interviewer. STAR gives them the proof that you think clearly and act professionally. And that's because the structure of it enables you to go methodically through what happened, what you needed to do, what you did, and the outcome of what you did, showing interviewers the full extent of your capabilities. Now, in video 2, we will look at real-life examples, turning everyday TA moments into STAR answers. I look forward to seeing you there.